Welcome, Mr. Kline. Master Kline is, as you all know through the magazine, one of our main collaborators in the last years. He is one of the greatest names on Kyusho all over the world. Why? Because he explains very well things. He is very honest, very open on his knowledge, very generous sharing the knowledge, and very well organized on pedagogy, which is one of the most important things I think that makes a difference with him.
Thank you.
Welcome first of all, and how do you feel about the meeting?
No, it's been great so far. It's nice to actually put a personal touch, shaking hands with the faces that we see in the magazine, because you don't know just from looking at a picture. Yeah. You don't know from reading an article, but when you meet them and you talk to them just about life in general, it's a much better feeling.
Yeah, I think it's one of the ideas of the event, because you guys every month are very well known for many people that read the magazine all over the world in different languages, but when it comes the opportunity to meet the same faces, it's great. And well, it's our first time together anyway, even if we are working for some years. And I must say that I see the person behind of the image of your show. It really is better than what I was expecting. So I'm very glad to see that there's a great human behind the person.
But what's interesting is I was teaching in Boston, and somebody came to a seminar that I hadn't seen in 10 years. And he said to me afterwards, he said, "You're exactly the same as you were 10 years ago. Open, friendly, telling jokes." He says, "Nothing went to your head, everything is just, you're the same," which he goes, and I appreciate that. And I was happy. I was like, okay, we don't see how we change or, good or bad.
Yeah, it's better if you change to the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, what is in your opinion, the most important thing that Kyusho can give to the martial artists and to the young generations?
Well, one thing I've been studying outside of martial arts is really about learning principles, and that's how I teach. There's few principles, but there's many ways to execute those principles. So you may have a different way of approaching something than I do, but I can look at your way and go, that's this principle, and then I go, that's a good way to execute. So understanding the basic principles of what anybody has to teach, you can learn faster. And that to me is what I'm trying to, if you want to call it my gift, my legacy, I don't know, help people learn faster by understanding the principles associated behind what they're doing. Doesn't matter what you call your martial art. The end goal is to develop a strong mind, strong body, and also have self-defense skills if you need them.
That's very interesting. And how this could impact mainly in the new generations? Because we see today young people are not really very disposed or ready for sacrifice. To learn martial arts is not like learning other disciplines. You need to really be involved and make some efforts. And we see that new generations are not so open to that. How you fight this and how you see the situation, how you collaborate to change the situation?
I think it's how individual instructors approach how they teach. So one day I just looked up the definition for martial arts and self-defense. They were two totally different definitions. They weren't the same. So when you say to somebody, do you want to learn martial arts? They're like, no, because they think that involves a commitment. When you say, do you want to learn self-defense? They're like, of course, I want to learn to protect myself. Well, that's a commitment also, but you can approach it differently. So a lot of people don't want the trappings of the martial arts. They want to wear just regular clothes because that's how real life is. And we wear costumes. It's Halloween every day. And so I think that our approach to how we teach the people and give them real skills instead of making them wait. The old way, you had to prove yourself before we would teach you the secrets. You can teach people everything now. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. It's that old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. The teacher is us, not me as the martial arts teacher, but each one of us, when we look in the mirror, all of a sudden we go, I got it. Now I know what he was talking about. And I still hear some of the things that some of my teachers would say to me over the years, and I'm like, now I understand. It took me a long time, because sometimes individually or personally, depending on what we have going on in our life, we're not ready to accept some of the lessons. And I think that the biggest thing is how we teach people and talk to them, not talk at them.
Makes a lot of sense? Yeah.
I'm not the, I'm just, I when people call me master or sensei, I'd rather be called Mark. That's the name my mother gave me.
Listen, Mark, you're teaching all over the world, to many countries, and how you see the difference between teaching in Europe and America and the USA?
America is very, very commercial. Europe doesn't seem as commercial as the United States. They seem to have more people training here than in the USA. In the USA, there's some very big schools. But I don't see the quality. I used to have a big school, and I looked at it and I said, no, this is not that good. I needed to change how I was doing things. And I'm much happier since I did that. And this is my 52nd trip just to Italy. And I've taught many countries. And but what I see is the common element, especially in Europe, is more people are willing to show up and learn. And in the USA, not so much. I think there's a difference in the commercial aspect.
And one of the good things of Kyusho is that interact with no matter what martial arts or style or tradition. And I think it's one of the keys of success, because I'm selling his videos successfully, so I realized that your videos are in the hands of taekwondo, karate. Everybody wants to learn about the points and about like miracle effects. So, but still some people are a little bit concerned or not confident about that. So I want you to speak to those people now.
So there's a saying in politics that if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. Okay, so if you add pressure points to bad technique, you still have bad technique. It's not going to change anything. So there's no magic fix. What I think needs to be taught of it for people to understand the principles. One of my students said to me, he was training with me 6 months, and he said, so if I understand this correctly, you're teaching me techniques so I understand principles so I can learn other techniques faster. I said, you got it. And so that's why Kyusho, because you have Taekwondo, Kempo, Kenpo, all these different, Kaju Kempo, all these different styles, but they're here. But there's that saying, at the top of the mountain, all the masters fight the same, because the goal is to quickly get rid of the opponent, whether it's verbally, psychologically, or physical. And by teaching people how to react, not think. Because if you think, then you stop and you go, and by that time, you eat the fist. So you react, and then afterwards you go, oh wow, I did this, I did that. One of my students, for example, he stopped training with me because he moved to Texas. And he was on the highway. Lots of traffic, lots of people, beat with the horn and everything else. And some guy was yelling at him. So he gets out of the car. He goes, come on, And the guy went to go swing at him, and he went boom, and he hit him on stomach 5, and the guy passed out in the highway. And so he goes back in the car, And his girlfriend said, "What happened?" He goes, "We have to go." But he contacted me afterwards. He says, "All that training I did with you years ago," he goes, "it's still in here and it's still in here."
Yes.
And I was like, and I hadn't heard from him in probably 10 years. And so it's teaching people to have the confidence and they have the skill. Hopefully we never have to use it, but you can't. Some people's concern is you can't keep hitting the points. They're right. You can't. You have to do it once or twice so you have the feeling for it. And then you're to internalize that feeling. You know?
And then react in consequence.
That's right. That's where the confidence comes from. Not constantly beating somebody. Because then you also feel bad because you're constantly beating somebody. There's the moral aspect as well. Did that answer?
Yeah, okay. Perfectly. Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you for being with us. I think you will enjoy in the next years many more videos, many more articles with this Grandmaster, which is Mark Kline, and great human being. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for putting this on.